by giving them something which they value. Like for example, if I am a boss, so definitely I can give promotions, I can give salary hike, I can give appreciation to my people who are working hard actually, right? Or who are working before the deadlines. So reward power is something as an individual, you have the ability or you have the right to give them all these things which they value, like promotion, like salary hike or praise. So reward is all these things actually, right? Coercive power. What do you mean by coercive power? Coercive power is something which is based on the fear of negative outcome. Let's say it is a carrot and the stick approach that if you don't achieve your targets, you will kick out from this organization. That is a coercive power. So I can say that these type of power are always being, you can say, directed by the people who threat the employees with some negative things, like I suspend you, I give you poor rating in the performance, I terminate you if you don't follow the rules. It's like that. So that's a coercive power that as a leader, or I can say as a manager, you always threaten your people because you have this authority to tell them that we can give you bad rating in the performance, we can suspend you, we can terminate you. This is a coercive power that you actually create a feeling of fear in the people, negative. Next is expert power. Expert power, this automatically comes when you have some spatial knowledge. You remember that whenever we talk about economics, generally corporates may have the sessions from the big economist. So if that economist say anything about the Indian economy or world economy, you believe that. Why? Because that person has this power of attracting you with his or her spatial knowledge, skill, and the expertise actually. The same happen in the organizations also. If IT specialist is saying you something about your laptop or some technical specification, you listen to that person because you know that if there is any problem, that this person is going to fix it. It's like that. So this power that person has gained because the person is competent enough. It is not coming with any title actually. So expert power is because of your own competency, knowledge, skill, or expertise where the people value you, right? And the last is the referent power. Referent power means as an individual, people may admire you, people may respect you, people want to be like you because you are a very charismatic personality. You are a personality which is having a 100% acceptance in everybody. So that is a referent power where actually people love to refer to your style of working, actually, right? So your juniors may look up to you, even you don't have any position, but they wanted to work with you because they have heard that you always treat your people like the assets. It's like that. So it is a charm, it is a admiration, it is your charismatic personality, it is the way you do your work that allow everybody or that actually make you the moment that actually make you to be talk in front of many people. It's like that, right? So charismatic, because of any charismatic personality, if anything comes on you, it is a referent power. So in this way, we can define these bases of power. Legitimate, that is based on your formal role. Reward, where as an individual, you have this authority to give the people rewards. Coercive is based on negative things. Expert is on the basis of your knowledge, and referent is on the basis of your charismatic personality, basically, right? So I'll take in one more topic, then I go back to the question and answers, right? I hope that everybody is okay with this. Okay, never mind. I'll first discuss the types of power because then we are going to take in the concept of politics and then I'll take another topic together. I hope it works also. So learners, if you have any doubt in all these bases of power, you can ask me and then only I can move to the next concept of politics. Yes. So Mana, in my knowledge, you can say that coerciveness should not be exercised anywhere because you don't have a working for the whole organization. They work for
Hi, welcome. Hi, welcome everyone.
their own benefit. They think that what's good for them, they try to bully other, and that's a very a certain kind of politics, and it's there in every organization actually, right? Even though if you like or you don't like, you have to be the part of it. But the only thing that you can do is you can stay away from that. So that's also possible. Even I'm working in the industry from the last 14 years. From my experience, I can say that you can be in part of the politics, but you can stay away from that also. There is no harm in that, right?
Hi.
But in that case, you have to understand it, how you can tackle it very carefully and very wisely. That's also very important, right? So let me first clear you that what do you mean by politics? So politics is where the people are using their power, where the people are using their authority to achieve their personal goals. And they manipulate the environment, the culture, the environment of the organization. That is a politics actually, right? Now, how many type of politics is there? First
Hi,
is where,
everyone.
as an individual, you make some groups. You actually have your relationship with the top management. Let's say I'm a normal manager of the, I'm a marketing head, right? Now I have a very good terms with my, you can say, vice president, and I keep on
How are you?
invite that person on the dinners of my home, or I used to give them good gifts and all that. Why? Because I want to give some favors for me. Let's say, so that's a politics. I'm not saying it that networking is bad. You need to do networking, but when you're doing networking for your own benefits, because it's not a culture in the organization that you have to invite your boss for the dinner every now and then. It's not a culture that you have to give them the gifts. But if you're giving them these type of things, it means you are actually inviting some different type of culture where everybody is not doing that. So it means you actually demand a different kind of favor from that person. So that is a bad thing because you're doing all these things so that it benefits your own interests. That's a politics. Next is coalition. What do you mean by coalition? Coalition means where you again collaborate with the others indirectly. For example, so that you can have some more power, you can have some more influence over the other. So coalition in any way, it could be the collaboration, it could be listening with any other department so that your power could be more strong. Or you can say, for example, if somebody in your organization or department may ask you, if you say that I know this person in a quality, I know this person in a research, this person is head there. So it means that you are doing something wrong. I'm not saying, again, knowing that person is absolutely not bad. But again, knowing that person for your own interest is bad. So if your intention is like that, this person may get benefit you in your promotion. So that is bad thing, right? So collaborating with the people from the other department, collaborating with some third party, so that you say that you're, or for example, at times if you're a marketing person, you say that I have a good connection with the supplier. So you actually talk to your boss that please go, let me handle this finances things. You don't interfere with that. It means you have some benefits in that. So that is also kind of politics actually, right? After that, manipulation, where you are intentionally, you can say, using some deceitful practices. You try to control the things. You don't give them the proper communication without direct confrontation. You're using some subtle ways to control the people, to control the situation. That is manipulation. It can be in the terms of data. It can be in the terms of people. If anything can be a politics. If you manipulate the people also, like whatever is happening, you don't communicate them directly. That is also bad, right? And the very simple way of politics is where you actually keep the information with you, withholding the information. Where your top management has given you some information as a department head, but you keep that information with you. You don't pass it to the member so that it may get benefit. No. So that is also a kind of politics. And this is very common in all the organization. Trust me. You have to bear with that. Now, if somebody will ask me that, ma'am, how we can overcome that, so I'm telling this from my experience of 14 years that you have to be the part of it. The only thing that I do is stay away from all these things. I just focus what I am doing. I just focus what I need to achieve. To be very honest, people, I'm not giving you any gyan here. I'm actually telling you the truth of life. If you actually put your head into this politics now, you'll also become a negative person. So don't look at this and just enjoy it. But just stay away. Why? Because it may not hit your interest in. It should not hit your promotion actually. Right? So that's how a politics is being defined in any organization. Now, after understanding the politics, definitely there is a way in which you can manage it. Or I can say how you can manage the concept of power in politics. So, very important thing. You should be transparent enough. If you are a boss, so as in boss, people are expecting you to discuss the things that you have discussed with the top management. So be transparent, clear. What are the discussions going on, so that the chances for the withholding information, manipulation could be less. And what is the benefit of that? So if as a leader, if you are being transparent enough, your team will support you. They will trust you. That is something that you cannot gain from your experience or competence. It is something that you earn, right? So you have to prove yourself in front of your team that you are there for them. It's like that, right? You are also an employee, you are also working for your post, but at least you should, being a good leader, you should try to be transparent enough, right? The next thing is how you can manage the politics and power. You should have the culture of cooperation and the teamwork. That's why it is generally say, or when I was explaining you the concept of team, I say that in every organization, they always encourage the people to work in a team rather than work in the silos. So it encourages the collaboration, it encourages the cooperation, and the harmful effects of the politics may also minimize in that. So if you work in a team, means as a collaborative effort, as an open communication, as a teamwork, you don't have more mind to think about these politics actually, right? After that, very much clear with the people that what you are expecting from them. Establish the clear expectations, ethical guidelines that how the power should be used in any organization, right? So as a leader, as a CEO, if you say your managers that you should not use this chorus of power to anybody, so they should not use this. So in that case, you can prevent these abusing using of power, and that will make the culture more happening and more supportive. And the last point is, as a leader, you should use your power very responsibly. What do you mean by responsibly? It means that you should be mindful that how your power is using for the positive thing, not for the personal benefit. right? So as a leader, you know that if you take any decision, what is the impact of that action? It should not impact others on their health. It should not impact any other on the personal life. So that is the way, as a leader, you should be mindfully using your power, right? It is not power, it's not always a negative word. It can be the positive. It depends how you tackle it, actually. It depends on how a leader may take up that. So as a leader, if you use your power for the benefit of the people, it is a constructive way, not a destructive one, right? Okay, Divyanshi, if I talk about coalition is another type of power where, as an individual, you are collaborate with other department or with any third party, so that your power, your authority in organization is more. So you are intentionally doing it so that if you collectively take in your power, it will be more. For example, if you tell your boss that I know the head of that department, so you think that this will give a good impression, but this is not a good thing, right? If you're working in your department, stay with that. If you want to collaborate, then ask others also to do that. Now, why you are individually doing that? So coalition is like that. So there are many people who have explained all these concepts very well. I'm really thankful to them. So that your power, your authority in organization is more. So you are intentionally doing it so that if you collectively take in your power, it will be more. For example, if you tell your boss that I know the head of that department, so you think that this will give a good impression, but this is not a good thing, right? If you're working in your department, stay with that. If you want to collaborate, then ask others also to do that. Now, why you are individually doing that? So coalition is like that. So there are many people who have explained all these concepts very well. I'm really thankful to them that they are helping not only me, they are helping their friends also. Learners, do you agree that all these things exist in the organization? Soham, referent power is something which is related to your personality. It is like where the people refer you. Why? Because you are such type of attractive personality. They admire you. They appreciate you because might be you are thinking about the people. I have given you the example that if some person is thinking that my people are my
Hi,
asset,
welcome.
everybody would like to work with that leader. Okay, any doubts in power and politics? Yes, people. And how you are handling that. So you all agree that power is there in every organization, politics is there in every organization. So do you agree that what I said, that you just have to see this, you just have to stay quiet, but don't allow these things to impact on your personal life or on your mental health? Do you agree on this also? Absolutely. Okay. Great to know that. Okay, learners, any doubts so far? That's really good to know, Neha. What about other people? I hope that today's session is clear to everyone. Absolutely, Chanchal. That's how you can work. Because if you're working and if you put your head this way, that why the people are doing this, why they're
Very
collaborating with
good,
others,
brother.
what they, it means that you're wasting your time in thinking about others. What about your
How are
benefit then, boss?
you?
How you're going to think about your growth? So just focus on your growth. And I personally believe that even though the people who play the politics are actually who take undue advantage of their power, they have their
Really
own place.
nice.
Nobody can take your competencies with you. So if you focus on them, you're actually wasting your time in managing those negative things in your life. So that's all about the first part of the unit number 8, because I don't want to give you more burden. And in the next part, we are going to discuss
Welcome,
about the
brother.
concept of organizational structure. And we are going to touch base on the concept that how leadership is important in the corporate culture, right? So slightly we'll be moving. Now we don't be, Hazel, we don't go in a speed up. We have the time, right? Absolutely, Chanchal. I also believe in the same way that if you put your heads on these negative things, it ultimately will give you more depression. So it's really good to just focus on your work. Thank you so much, Johan. Thank you so much for your kind words. I hope somebody can explain to Arghaya what is coalition building. Coalition building is your collaboration with others that's not related to your department, somebody from outside your organization, so that you want that the people in the organization may impact by your power and influence. So intentionally you're doing this so that you want to increase your power. It's like that. Anything that has been left from my side? Because there's so much chat box, so maybe I'm not able to scroll every other thing. If I have left anything, please I request Ganeshan, no. Generally, we say that leader is a positive word and boss is a negative word. Boss actually seems to be more ruling type of things, right? That's the difference between both. Leadership is all how you influence your group, but influencing it should not be in a bad way. It should always towards some collective vision. When you attack your group towards one purpose, one goal, one vision, one mission, when you actually say that you keep your group intact, you are a good leader, I can say, right? So always use these things in a positive way. Power is a kind of capacity, a kind of, you can say, potential that a person has the influence the behavior of another person. So that I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I think recording is already started, right? Yes, ma'am. Recording is started. Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to our course of organizational behavior. So before we heading into the new year 2006, this is going to be a last session. We're going to meet next year. I think that's okay for everyone. And I'm sure that you really want to get free by this evening, as maybe many of you have the plans for the vacations. Already many of you are already in the mood of vacations, right? So I will not be spoiling your mood because the topic that we are going to take is a very, very simple one. We have already started this unit in our last weekend, and I hope that the topic that we have discussed regarding the team dynamism has already been clear. We have ended up with the concept of power in politics. And there I said that the remaining topics are topics that are being left about unit number 8. So today we are going to discuss that how actually the organization structure, how the concept of culture, these being an important role to play when we talk about the different leadership styles, right? We've already discussed about autocratic, less fair, then democratic and participative, different kinds of leadership styles in our last session. So now we are going to relate it with the different aspects of organization. Let's say we talk about decentralization, we talk about that how leaders actually manage the different teams, what are the challenges that they face. So first of all, obviously basic understanding. Now I'm not going to go into the detail about the organization structure because when we have discussed about the unit of organizing, therein only we have discussed a lot about the organization structure and the design. So you also need not to study it once again. When we have studied it already in organizing, we are not supposed to read it once again. It is be the same concept that what we have discussed. So just for your reminding, I'm actually repeating it once again. That organization structure decides that how the task and responsibilities has to be managed in the organization. Who is going to do whom, so that there will be no confusion. Everybody is clear that what are their reporting managers, how their reporting relationships are being managed. So in an organization, when all these things are structured, it is nothing but it talks about the organization structure. So we talk about various things like what is organization culture, how it actually impacts to the different leaders. We understand decentralization, then how it has an impact on the team decision making. We understand that what are the challenges leaders face when we come across with the different type of teams. So let us begin our session with first concept that absolutely talk about the context of organization culture, right? Let us maybe this terminology is not new for you.
It's
We already heard this many times in one or the other way. If you are working, that you may be very comfortable with this terminology, you may be very familiar with this terminology. But if you are not working also, you might heard about this concept here in advertisements or at times in newspaper, or if you are in the habit of reading. So you come to know this, or you may be familiarized with this terminology. That is talk about the culture. Now let us discuss that when we talk about the organization culture, what absolutely it inclusive of, right? So there are various things that organization culture is made of. It is inclusive of your values, norms, behavior, right? How any people, or I can say how the employees within the organization, they behave with each other, they communicate with each other, everything is inclusive in the organization culture actually, right? And if I talk about the big terms of OB like leadership, motivation, decision making, team, so culture really has a lot of role to play in deciding about all these concepts, whether it is motivation, whether it is leadership, whether it is communication, or whether it is decision making also, right? So let us take or let us discuss the culture components one by one. Now, first thing here we understand is that what are the values? So values is, you can say, the belief, or I can say values are you can say the philosophies, I should say like that, because again, then we have to define the beliefs as well, right? So values are the guiding principles which is there in the organization, right? Something which actually guide, something which actually direct your actions or your strategies. That are values. Every organization has some other value. Like if I talk about Infosys, so their value is being reflected in their vision statement. What is important for them? It is inspired by life and driven by values, let's say, for example. So that means that this brand or this company really, for them, the values that they carry from their ancestors, from their founders, they have to transform it every generation. So they want to show to the employees that it's not you're working, but you're working in some value driven organization. So value driven organization never have the you can say autocratic type of leadership style. They always show that we respect the people, we want their commitment. It is more inclusive culture rather than dictatorship. It's like that, right? Then belief, again, it is related to the value only. What you assume, what are the assumptions in your organization that guide your every action? So your values and belief, they both work together, and they both are being reflective in your vision and the mission statement. After that, norms are some rules which actually decide what is acceptable, what is right, what is wrong, right? You can say that dress code in any organization or leave policies, everything, something related to any department, any rules about acceptable behavior, punctuality, right? Everybody has to punch on time, they have to behave properly. That is, you can say, something every individual has to follow. It's like that, right? After that, symbol. So it is also a representation of the culture in any way. Like every company may have some logo, they have some office kind of artifacts, layouts. So that actually show the transparency, the teamwork. If you generally see that in a startup, you really find these particular factor very dominant one. So these startups are really very creative in their layouts. So for them, everything which is visualized really impact their culture. So when you enter McDonald's, what you see, the different type of food items pictured on their wall. What is this? This is a culture of that particular store. Then you talk about communication. So communication, how the people interact with each other, right? What is the team collaboration concept? It's like that. After that, another important aspect of culture is a leader. So leader is one who directs, who motivates the team, who always foster the culture of trust, transparency, and empowerment. And after that, some rituals, which is also known as practices. So many organizations do have this practice of arranging some fun activities on Friday. So before the people leave for the weekends, they always have a relaxed Friday. So that's a kind of ritual. So weekly such type of activity always create enthusiasm, spark, or I can say keep the morale of the people high. They don't feel bored out of their tedious job. It's like that. So everything is a part of the culture, which is reflected within your organization, and that's really a very important aspect when you talk about the organizational context, right? So as we used to follow people, I am going to the next topic. Then we switch to the question and answer.
Fast decision making.
I hope it works for everyone, right? But let us talk about another interesting thing that's related to organization structure is decentralization. I believe that you people remember when I had discussed decentralization with you when we were discussing unit number organizing, where we have discussed about this, right? Let me reiterate once again. Decentralization means that as a leader, you actually distribute your decision-making authority. You're not keeping everything with you. You actually spread it from top to lower levels. So instead of keeping everything in your hands, you give this power to the teams. You give this power to the individuals that please be responsible, be accountable in your role. Whatever decisions you have to take about your team, if you want any resources, you are free to purchase that. So whatever you want to do to keep a motivation level high for your employees, please go ahead. It's like that, right? So decentralization is always like sharing your responsibilities, authority with your subordinates so that they also become more accountable. It is like being more inclusive in nature. It's like that. Now, when you talk about such type of culture, if every other organization to promote the decentralization, how it benefits. First is your decision making becomes very fast because everything is not in your hands actually, right? Like for example, if I am a marketing head, let's say, right, I am designing the marketing campaigns for all my different subsidiaries. In that case, if all the marketing campaigns has to be approved by me, has to be planned by me, then it is going to be take a long time. So rather than everything I keep from my side, I give this power to all the regional managers that whatever your campaigns are, please plan it, please approve it without you need any approval from the headquarters. So it will unnecessarily stop your, you can say, creativity. You can create your own marketing campaigns at your own end, and that will become more responsive, that allow you to implement the things more faster, right? If you involve people, if you give them some accountability, they also feel committed. They also feel that you are trusting them. So that increase the employee engagement. You ask your team that please set your goals. We have given you vision and mission statement. It is up to you what will be your goal and how you are going to complete. They will be more committed. They will be more valued. They feel that you actually think that they are capable enough. So that increase their engagement part. Automatically, in such type of culture, people would like to try out always something new. They always try to experiment. They always try to come out with a creative solutions for the problems. So that allows them to be more innovative, to be more think out of the box, right? In this way, when you ask your subordinates to be more responsive enough to take their own decisions, ultimately you are developing your juniors as the future level of managers in that way, right? So automatically, decentralization build on more leaders. It actually give the individual this capacity to think that they are also become the future leaders because you have been given the task to set the goals, to lead the team, to being work in a team, to being creative. So ultimately, in the future, when an opportunity may come up, you are ready to take that. And the last is adaptability. Adaptability, like as an individual, as a group, you can be responsive to the changes which is being required by the market. Let's say your leader has already given you this relaxation that you decide your goals. For example, if you are in a sales team, now you have set some goals for your project. Suddenly, customer preferences has been changed. Now you have to change certain features in your product. So you have this liberty at least, right? So adaptability says that as a team, as an individual, you have this capacity to make the changes as per the demand of the external factors. It can be anything, can be the customer, can be the political issues, can be the legal, can be the environmental, anything which is there in the physical environment. So that makes you more adaptable, this makes you more agile and more active. So that's how the decentralization is being benefited to the different type of people at the various levels. So now the time to discuss the Q&A. Yes, people, doubts regarding the culture and the decentralization part. Very good evening once again, everyone. Please, I request you not to post anything related to your WhatsApp groups. It actually distracts me from the major questions. So if you really want me to look over to the main questions, please don't post anything related to your personal WhatsApp groups. Yes, learners, I'm actually waiting for your questions here. Anybody is having any doubts so far? Oh, that's very good to know, Shreyash. No doubts. Something very different I come across in my 8th session. So I hope that if you people are working, that you may also agree that whatever topics that we are discussing, it has nothing to be related to the books. It is the same that you are practical experiencing in your professional skill to make the changes in your working style as per the requirement of the market. So one of the steps is regarding that how you are going to design the product features, let's say. But when you do the market research, you come to know that the customers are not liking that feature. So you have to change that, let's say. So you're working with a design team. Now, if the decentralization concept is there, it means as a sales team head, you have this power to decide this, that this feature is not in demand. So with the top approval, top management approval, at least your inputs will be heard. That I have done the research and I come to know that new type of features will be demanding by the customer. So rather than working on this type, we can try out some other. So adaptability is any change that you want in your current task because of a change in the market environment. Thank you so much, Rahul. Again, indeed, I should say that listening these appreciable words at almost about the completion of the syllabus, I'm really very thankful. Absolutely, Arshad, but I should not say that it should always be this way. So there's so many people who are working in your team. So there should be somebody who always been keen to take the opportunity. Because I personally believe that if you actually go into the depth of any individual, they always are being curious enough about their growth. And their growth can only be counted when they look for the new opportunity, when they look to take up the new task. So I don't think so that any person would deny if he or she is serious about the future. Raj, organization culture is actually the mixture of so many things. Like, what are the values your organization is having? What are their norms? What are their assumptions, which is known as a belief? What are the symbols? How they communicate with each other? How the people within the organization talk to each other, behave with each other? What are the ways leaders treating their team? Responsibility to only, you can say, some representative. In the absence here, culture is something that allow the people to behave to. react to the overall environment actually where you work. It is actually setting like that, inclusive of various things that we have discussed, right? So leader also has an important role to play here. Now, how leader can make any organization culture outstanding and how leader can make an organization culture more negative. It has that much impact. Like the first thing that a leader can do is set the tone and the culture. So what do you mean by tone and culture? It is as a leader, if you are very committed towards your organization, if you're really being valued in there, definitely you have some value, you have some rules, you have some expectations that you have already communicated with the people. So set the tone and culture means as a leader, you always speak in the same language that what is being reflected in the vision and mission. You also have some guiding purpose behind every project, right? So you, as a leader, you should always promote the people to talk to you, to have them transparent communication, culture of openness where nobody gets scared to it by talking to each other. There should not be any fear and rigidity in the minds of the people. It's like that. So you have to set that tone, right? Then communication style as a leader, you should always be very clear, consistent if you want to gain a respect from your junior. If you don't communicate with them, if you don't give them a proper feedback, it will leave them confused. They don't know that whether they're doing right or wrong. It's very, very important that if they want or not, you should give them continuously feedback. Whether it is right or wrong, they should take it up in their own way. So that allow them to bring on a spark of motivation and the morale. A leader is somebody who encourages a collaborative kind of decision making. Like as a leader, you always say that every team member should give their suggestion. Whatever be the best, then finally we decide that. So this type of collaborative culture should be there, right? Definitely the strategic people, top management may always have all on the big decisions. You cannot take any decision regarding mergers and acquisitions, because that's a very big risky decision, right? So definitely as a leader, you allow your people to give their suggestions, right? So that they may also feel that they are empowered. Their suggestions are being heard somewhere, right? After that, motivation and recognition. So continuously giving them growth opportunities. Make them see this, that in the years to come, if they develop these competencies, what good their opportunities in the current organization, have this culture of rewards, recognition, through any ways, monetary, non-monetary, right? Such type of things always keep the people engaged, always keep the people motivated. They don't feel like that long way we have not get anything. It's like that. They keep on working, but nothing we get from the organization. That's very important. As a leader, you should be very careful that how you manage that conflict and stress very constructively in a positive way. So that you need to maintain that balance. You should not ignore the issues. Somebody will say that I have a personal problem, and you say that no, avoid that and continue with working. Once you say this, the person always has a grudge against you, that you have not responded to what he or she has said. So please being responsive to what the people are saying, because you never know this small thing can be a big disaster, right? Never show this that you're ignoring the issue, never being biased or favorite to anybody, because that can lead to a very different and toxic type of politics. Don't avoid that. And ultimately is your ethics. As a leader, if you really want the people to respect you, you always should believe in some honest practices. Because it's very easy to adopt a shortcut and get high step on the ladder, right? But really, I believe this personally, that to be very honest, it happens with me also. I'm actually being experienced in the last 14 years. So I have faced so many ups and downs in my career. At times I also felt that I should do this, I should do that, so that I can also get a promotion. But to be very honest, at that particular time when I thought, it was actually a thought very for a temporary basis. Now when I thought for the long term, no, that doesn't suit my personality. If somebody will ask, then what should I buy question? So that shortcut trick will always have that, you can say, negative thing in my mind, that if I thought, then what happened? It's like that, right? So please be always ethic, please be always try to have some integrity in your work practice. Be honest enough. You know, you should know the difference between right and wrong. It's like that. There's a very thin line, but you should not try to cross the other side, right? Your emotional intelligence should be very high. When I say that emotional intelligence, it means you should be able to understand the people. You should be empathetic enough. You should show that how much you are aware about people. You should always try to make your people, your employees, your assets as a safe and the secured and the valued. That feeling you should always try to imbibe in your juniors, that you always make them feel valued and safe in the working environment. Then only they'll be more inspirational to you, and then only they can respect you. So that as a leader, how you can impact the climate positive way, these are the ways that you can do that, right? Now we take one more topic, like how leadership impact the decision making. Like for example, that there are various leaders who always think that decision making is our right, but there are different type of leaders who always think that let us involve our people. Also let them be the part of the decision making, then together we can decide. So how actually it impact the decision making? Let us understand, because leaders are the one who actually decide, who actually approached, and who actually finalize the things, and the top management is going to ask them. It's like that, right? The first thing that here we need to understand is the various leadership styles have a different type of impact on the decision making. Let's say we have discussed about the autocratic leaders. So autocratic leaders are those who say that everything we decide by our side. I will not take any input from my team member. So definitely, as an autocratic leader, my decision making could be take time, because again, I cannot, you can say, make the quick decisions, because everything is on me. I have to see right or wrong. There's so many things I have to calculate. Let's say. On the other hand, if I talk about democratic leader, those who involve the team, collaborations are there, right? So that way, the kind of commitment that you can have from your team could be more high, right? So depending on which kind of decision making style you're having, your impact on the decisions will be accordingly. It's like that, right? After that, your leadership impact your group dynamics. Now, what is the group dynamics? We have already discussed in our part 1, that how the members in the group interact with each other, what are their attitude, and the way they behave, the way they think, and how, as a leader, you solve their conflicts. That is all a group dynamics, actually, right? So, as a leader, you should always try to reduce the level of conflict. Group dynamics is something which is impacted by the conflict. So, if you say that you favor somebody, let's say I favor A, so I say all the bad things about X to A. So what type of climate it will create? It will create toxic climate. So whatever you say that is really has an impact on your group dynamics. So try to be a very good leader where you try to solve the conflict by taking everyone together. Don't be a part of any one person. Don't show any favoritism or bias towards any one person because you are not responsible for one, you are responsible for the entire team, right? So have a clarity with everybody that you are taking a team together and imbibe this in everyone. That everybody has to think from others' perspective also, and then tell them what are the vision, what are the principles we are having, and then try to start work so that everything a leader can have an impact on the group dynamics. And the last is the quality of your decision and the speed. So, for example, that what kind of leader you are. Let's say if you are a leader which is work on the rewards and the rules, let's say, so you always believe that your decision should be very structured and you always want to follow some rigid format for your decisions. Transactional leaders always believe that whatever we do, like if actually we are giving a salary to the people, so they're supposed to work. These are the transactional leaders approach. That we are paying, so they have to work. It's like that, right? So their decisions are always very rigid. They always say that whatever we decide, everyone has to follow that. It's like that. But transformational leaders are somebody who is having a very different type of opinion. Their quality of decisions could be more innovative. Maybe it is slow because you involve many people, right? But the resulting solution could be always very different. It's like that, right? So generally, we can say that the leader should always be the experts. I should not say that they should being more dominating, but they should actually take the benefit of their expertise. So when they take any decisions by involving people, they should always reflect this that they have experts in that. It's like that. And it's very important as a leader, you should always maintain the open channel of communication. You should be transparent enough. You should show the people that they are valued. Then only it will improve the quality of your decisions. So ultimately, what is your call in the decision making? It depends that which leadership style you are adopting to. It's like that. Right? I hope I'm able to clear here this topic. So any doubts we are having in this leadership and the previous topic that's related to how leadership is connected with the organizational culture? Questions, please. I would like to see that if somebody is experiencing these type of things in their organizational culture, so want to listen at what type of culture that they are having. Absolutely, Lovinish, that's what I said. As a leader, you should be transparent enough because the very benefit that you get out of this skill, if you hear everyone, then I could be very honest, I say this, and if you take your own decisions, people still value you because you have at least heard them. That's also a very important thing. So that's a trick a leader can adopt. Decision making, Rahul, I hope that. So you want to know about the first point, if I'm not wrong, that leadership style in decision making. So now it simply means that what type of leader you are, it will have an impact on your decisions. Like for example, as I say, if you are an autocratic leader, like you say that whatever decisions has to be done, it has to be done by me only. Solely I'm going to make the decision with no inputs from my team members, let's say. So in that case, if I have to decide without consulting my team, definitely my decisions will be quick because I'm not depending on anybody. But do you think that your people may feel involved in that? They always talk on your back that, okay, boss has taken a decision, we have to follow it, that's it. So they just work for that way only. They don't think out of that beyond you. They don't expect any commitment, don't expect any motivation, don't expect any high level of morale from their side. That's what a leadership style in decision making means. And you can say vice versa in democratic. Like if you involve your people, maybe you need more time for taking your decisions, but you get more ownership and more commitment from your people. So you need to decide what aspect is important from you. It is the speed of your decisions or it is the involvement of the people. Absolutely. So recognition means in any way if you can reward your people for their good work, that has to be there in organizational culture. Transformative Jolly is a leader who actually thinks that we want to do something which is out of the box, which is not only related to what we are doing in a day-to-day activity. We have to think something from the organizational perspective. So when I was explaining this leadership style, I still remember, I've given you examples that transformational leaders are those who always think that whatever we are doing, how it is going to contribute in the organizational growth. We're not only talking about our own project growth or our own department. That the transformational leaders are. That's why they're supposed to be more creative, right? Because they always being involved in extensive brainstorming sessions with their team members. That's very good. Yes, Neha, absolutely. A warm culture is really very important. So I'm not giving you any hypothetical example here, but at times your warm culture may compensate for your less selfie as well. Trust me. How emotions are important because as a leader you have to be emotionally intelligent. You should feel the pain that your juniors are facing. If you actually stepping into their shoe, then only you'll be able to understand their problems. So as a leader, you should always try to make them feel safe and secure in the working environment. That's as a leader emotionally has an impact. No, it doesn't create confusion, Shubham, actually. Again, as I said and as I repeated, that democratic doesn't mean that you give everything in their hands. You are there for them, but you just involve them. So it's like being them more committed. Yeah, you can say that what functional area you are. For example, if you're manufacturing, then definitely for them, transactional and autocratic leadership would be more better. Venkatesh, I can say that this is something, it has always been natural to the individuals. You cannot say anything with that. So don't put your heads if you are facing anything just like that. If there is a conflict, as a leader, if you favor one person, if you disfavor another person, it will create the more grudge. But as a leader, if you manage this issue constructively, it will take care of both the parties. It's like that. So now I am going to the next topic again. So after having a detailed discussion on the leadership, now let us talk about that how decentralization has an impact on the leadership practices, right? So basically, people today's part is only being related to decentralization, culture, and the leadership practices. Because leadership we have already discussed in the first part. So in relate to that, we are relating to different topics only. That's it, right? So decentralization, we have already understand that how you sharing your authority with your juniors, teammates, so that they can also be more accountable enough. Now, how decentralization may impact on the leadership practices and organizational efficiency. So there are two ways that we have to discuss. The first is that how decentralization impact the leadership practices, or you can say the leadership styles. Let's say, right? So definitely, if one point we have already discussed, because this is something that repetitive we are discussing here, right? So if I talk about the transformational leaders or democratic leaders or less fair styles, so these type of leaders are those who always try to inspire, who always try to motivate and guide their people. They don't want to involve in micromanagement, right? That's what we have discussed as well. So their leadership, the impact of the leadership style is very different. Like let's say transformational leaders always motivate their team, that you should come up with a new idea, right? You don't worry about the top management approval, but if you are giving a good suggestion, I will take that forward and I will ensure that your ideas are being communicated till there. So rather than being the controllers or rather than being keeping everything in their hands, they always try to make this thing to their members that their ideas are being heard from somebody who's sitting at the top also, right? So they are the facilitators basically. So this type of style, again, decentralization is something which is supporting the transformational leaders or democratic leaders, I can say, right? Again, if you decentralize, your communication will be more better. Your coordinating transformational leader, your decision making can be something which is more rigorous. It can be time consuming, also reduced. So ultimately, what kind of style you're adopting, it will have an impact on your organizational output, productivity, or efficiency, right? And decentralization, in a very different ways, impact the various kind of leadership styles as well. Autocratic leaders, how they take the decisions, let's say. Democratic leader, how they take the decisions. Transformational leaders, how they take the decisions. So that way you have to attempt this point, right? And after that, the last topic of today's session is what are the challenges leaders face when they have to manage the different type of teams? Because as a leader, I cannot say that I'm responsible only for one team. There could be multiple teams I'm managing. Maybe somebody from, if I'm talking about leader, I'm talking about a person who's sitting in the top management. I'm taking care for the finance people, I'm taking care for the HR, I'm taking care for the operations, I'm taking care of the different functional teams, let's say, right? So if as a leader, I am dealing with a different team, my language, my communication should be very clear. I should not misunderstand. Maybe somebody is from, not from my culture, maybe somebody is from a different language. If I'm not able to speak in their regional language, at least I should understand what their point of view is. I should not always allow this barrier of communication to come in place in between my interaction with the various states. So these are the challenges. It may happen. If you deal with a different team, you face these problems of communication style, cultural languages. So that may create a confusion, misunderstanding. Try to avoid that. Right? Accordingly, I'm telling you the strategies also to overcome this. After that, conflict and misalignment. What do you mean by misalignment? Like what you are saying, we have to achieve quality education as a whole. But if people or your team is not understanding in that way, they think that our goal is admissions. No, boss, that's different. Our focus is quality, not number of the intakes. So your misalignments should not be there. So if you are dealing with different people, chances of the conflict, different opinion, different perspectives could be higher. You need to tackle that. High diversity. It will increase the conflict if you are not managing them well. Right? The next challenge is stereotyping and the biasness. I really want everyone to put their 100% attention here. Maybe you don't understand these terminology at one. Conflict, different opinion, different perspectives could be higher. You need to tackle that. High diversity. It will increase the conflict if you are not managing them well. Right? The next challenge is stereotyping and the biasness. I really want everyone to put their 100% attention here. Maybe you don't understand these terminology at one go. So if you are then asking it again, I'm actually repeating it for one more time. Stereotyping and biasness, these are in itself the negative terminologies. How? Now, as a leader, when I'm dealing with the different teams, right? So actually, because I am directly impacting how my team members are perceived, treated, and included. So stereotyping means as a leader, I am making some belief on the basis of gender, age, culture, background. That's wrong. As a leader, you should always avoid this error of perception. You should not judge any person with their age, with their gender. Generally, people say that women don't have this rational approach. Why you are saying this, boss? How many women you have experienced? And how you can say with any research that is a generalized fact. Many people think that, for example, that this culture particular does not have that aptitude of understanding. Why you say this? So never point any religion, never point any culture. That's absolutely bad. In bias, you all know that actually you are favoring any one person out of all the other. So type of things generally being unfair, underestimating the potentials of the people, and overlooking the talent. It should be avoidable. Right? The next challenge as a leader we face is resistance to inclusion. What that means? Resistance to inclusion. It's a very big challenge because when you are treating the different teams, taking their cooperation, participation is very, very difficult. Accepting the difference is very difficult, right? So resistance means people are not willing to being a part of the work, deliberately or non-deliberately. They don't want to be a part of discussions, they don't want to be part of decision making, right? So in this case, basically, as a leader, those people who are excluded, they always feel isolated, they try to create a different type of toxic culture, they don't believe in team coordination. So how you are handling that is a challenge, right? So those people who are not willing to include in your team discussions, meetings, or review, this will impact your team effectiveness. And the last is to get the coordination, right? You need to be more efforts, you need to put more efforts for aligning your people, process, and expectations, right? A leader is one who always challenges the complexity. That's how it works actually, right? So assume it in that way that these are the hurdles as a leader you may face, and how you can overcome that also we have discussed side by side as well, right? So any confusions, any questions in challenges and earlier how you relate the leadership style with the decentralization, please let me know. Neha, that decentralization impact on the leadership styles. Let's say, for example, every decentralized structure is like where the power is segregated. From a control, you're actually trying to move into the empowerment. Rather than keeping everything into one hand, you try to give to all the levels. So from control, you're moving to the empowerment. And right, and they always try to promote the consistency in the values. So he has adopted autocratic style also. And at times when it is about young people, he has been more democratic and transformational as well. We all know the results. I'm sure that it is not going to be witnessed in 2-3 years, but it seems like as a leader, you face this problem. People don't readily accept it, whatever new things come up. It's like that. So if somebody is not accepting it, if somebody don't want to be part of your team meetings, if somebody don't want to be part of the discussions, right? So it simply create a problem with you. You cannot get the participation, cooperation. You cannot allow them to accept the difference. That's a challenge the leader has to face. You have to find out your ways to overcome that. Right? So that's a challenge. Resistance to inclusion, where the people don't readily accept the new things. What comes on the way? I hope it's clear now, Astha. Biasness is a favoritism. Stereotyping is, we have a very good and healthy discussion. So before we left out for the current session, I request one thing. Can I make a request to you all? Topic that's related to change in development. And learners, before we go into the session, I just wanted to state here that when we talk about change or development, then this is something which just keeps on happening in any organization. You cannot say that any strategy that has been fixed today is going to be there for another 6 months even. It keeps on changing because the environment, then always your top leaders, they always want to break the status quo. They never want you to stay in the single position for a long period of time. They always ask you that keep on working for the new things, keep on coming up with a new idea. So that's how it absolutely works. So when I talk about the next aspect that's related to change, that is the development. So development is more where I talk about the effectiveness overall. I can say